Hey guys, it's Ron Bass with another edition of Soar High Personal Development, your source for inspiration. Today, joining me is Davin Hundley with an I, Mr. Producer, Mr. Artist, Mr. Beatmaker,
Hat wearer,
and Brent Atterbury, Marketing Guru,
golf guru, weather expert, meteorologist.
There you
I
go.
don't know about that. I got an app for that.
You got an app for that? Well, today we're going to talk about an interesting topic: how to handle ourselves in stressful situations. And Davin's going to have an example of how sometimes that doesn't go very well. I'll let him maybe start off with that, and then we'll kind of go from there with some other ideas that I've got.
Okay. So this happened a couple weeks ago. Let me find a date. December 2nd is when this post was made. So it probably happened a couple days before. But in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona, to be more specific, there was a police officer, two police officers that were called to a Walmart to try to de-escalate a situation where there was someone that stole something. He was claimed to have stolen something. He was in an electric wheelchair, and when the Walmart employee went out to apprehend or confront the suspect, he showed them a knife. He didn't use it. He just brandished it and said, "Hey, don't mess with me," such like that. So the cops were called. This suspect was Richard Lee Richards, who is 61. And again, he was in an electric wheelchair.
So he was immobile.
Yeah, he was immobile. He couldn't,
at least from the waist down.
Yes, he could only use his arms.
He couldn't walk.
No,
Okay.
could not walk, at least from what it shows and in the video. He is a 4-year veteran and was on a special duty assignment, basically a security detail at that Walmart that he stole from, or he is suspected of stealing from. I didn't really look.
That doesn't
deeper
quite add
into
up
it.
either.
I know that doesn't seem right, because how can you be working security in a wheelchair? But there is no discrimination against people with disabilities. So, I can see it. Either way, let's get to the bottom. Let's get to the main point. These two officers that were there, one was a male officer, one was a female officer. Don't have their names, but the male officer was there first. The female officer walks out and her body cam is recording. The male officer tells Richards to stop a couple times while he's going into the Lowe's, and he didn't. The male officer ended up shooting Richards 9 times.
Goodness.
In the back and side.
Unbelievable.
Almost unloading the entire clip into someone that cannot move.
It's crazy.
More than at the speed of 5 miles per hour, 3 miles, 4, 6, something like that. And it went pop, 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 pop. Wow. So it felt a little, it didn't feel like self-defense as much as it felt like.
Well, the video that I saw, he was in front of it was just so,
yeah.
It was like shooting a fish in a barrel.
And here,
horrible.
I will show you guys the
Why
video.
not disarm the guy? Why not It's just unbelievable, guys. I mean, it's just unreal to me. You could have blown, like you said, shot the tires out on the wheelchair. You could have disabled the guy. You could have tasered him. I mean, really,
you could have done a lot.
Killed the guy from the back. It's just unbelievable to me. As crazy as that is, I want to delve into this, to the psychology of all this and what we can do to help people to maybe, how to give them some lessons on how to handle themselves in stressful situations. Or maybe in an angry situation, maybe in an anxious situation, maybe in an aggressive situation. The point I'm trying to make is that there's got to be a better way to handle yourself in a situation like this, even if it wasn't that desperate of a situation where it's uncomfortable, you're uncomfortable, and you feel like there's harm coming your way, there's got to be a cool, calm, and collected way to handle yourself.
Right.
So I want to give you guys some ways I think that you can help yourself going forward. If you find yourself in a bad situation, what you can do in advance of that to make it better. For basics like rest, exercise, prayer. If you pray every day and you believe in a deity, higher in God, then prayer is very helpful. I know I pray every day, and then of course martial arts. We talk about that all the time. Soar High Jiu-Jitsu. Any kind of a martial art, though, would be very helpful for anybody because you learn discipline. Discipline's a key word here. You learn to be disciplined in bad situations. And it doesn't have to be like in that situation, but any kind of a bad situation.
Right.
Okay, so I'm just throwing that out there. What do you guys have to say about that? Don't anybody speak too fast.
I want your opinion on like the video and the story. Like,
well, it's hard to give an opinion or talk a ton about that because you don't know all
right
that happened there. I mean, what if?
Well, not necessarily specifically to that situation, but just talking generally about.
Well, first I do want to hear his.
Well, no, I know law enforcement is trained to do certain things in certain situations, and if a weapon is put out there and they are intent or they believe they're intent on harming someone else's life, then deadly force is typically used. But again, I don't know all the details and what happened there. From the camera, it looked terrible. And it did not look correct and right. But we don't know what all else happened. I mean, maybe someone called in and said he had a gun, or maybe he did try to stab somebody. We don't know all the details. So that is unfortunate, and that's awful that happened. And it looks like it went too far based on what we just saw in the video. But
to say the
we
least.
got to hear all the information to make a educated decision.
And I agree, like, with any time that happens, anytime that someone is killed by a police officer, the internet only shows you so much of what really happened. But I think that in most cases, like that case specifically, you can.
But I want to go beyond. I want to go beyond this example. I want to talk generally.
We will. I just wanted to have some opinion and some conversation about it. Fair enough. I think that a taser could have been used there easily instead of a gun.
I agree. And you could have also disarmed this guy with it if you had proper martial arts training, because it's all risk control, guys.
Right. And I think also you got to really understand the training, and my brother-in-law is retired Springfield PD, and he's got stories he's told me. You have usually seconds to make a decision,
right?
And if you go through the training and you follow the protocol of what you're taught, then even though it may not look right on the video, it may have been justified based on their training.
Correct.
But some people don't make as good of decisions as others.
Right.
So maybe it could have gone a different way. You say use the taser. Well, maybe they're told the taser is for when someone has no weapons.
Right.
Maybe if there's a weapon, anytime there's a weapon involved, I know when I did my conceal and carry course, they basically said, you can't pull your gun out and aim it or shoot at anybody unless you are in fear for your life. And just because somebody's coming at you with their fist
doesn't mean
you can't pull your gun out and shoot them.
Yeah.
Now, if they have a knife where you think you're in fear for your life,
that you could be just as powerful as
I agree, but you'll lose that argument in a court of law. According
I'll take
to
my chances versus
my son-in-law,
myself, beat down.
But if they come at you with a pipe or a knife or a gun, then you can pull your gun out and shoot. But other than that, your gun stays hidden and put away. You can't use it diffuse.
Sometimes even in those situations you lose in court, but I'll take my chances.
Right.
If somebody's trying to kill, I'm assuming somebody's trying to kill me if they're attacking
So
me.
yeah, so we're
And I'm
kind
not
of
here
we're
to
talking
beat the
about
police up, by the way. I just want to use this as an example of how you can figure out ways to minimize the downside to a bad situation. What can we do? What can we teach our audience? What can we encourage our audience to do in advance of anything that's negative like this?
I think first of all, I always told my daughter this. If you ever have a daughter, you'll say this a lot. Don't put yourself in a bad situation.
Right.
Then bad things most of the time won't happen. So don't go into that dark alley. Don't don't go out at 3 a.m. Yeah, don't do things that could put you in a situation where bad things could happen.
Hold that thought for a second. One of my employees' daughter did put herself in a bad situation. Went to a particular place, a club where there was drinking, hanging out with people that were known drug dealers, and she was killed that night, like in a back alley, like about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Supposedly something along the lines she was a snitch, or they were afraid she was going to snitch on them or whatever. And it's just horrible.
Yeah.
But back to what you were saying, putting yourself in a bad situation to start with only increases the odds of something bad to happen.
Yes.
And this is not only for daughters either. I'm just like talking to the audience. This is for everyone. An old man, a middle-aged woman, a young child, like don't put yourself in a bad situation. And like you said, most likely a bad situation will occur.
And I think being a good listener, and you said something about discipline, and I think discipline can be taking a step back and listening to the situation of what's going on in the surroundings. Let's put ourselves in the situation of that guy. If the police tell you to stop, you should stop.
Yes.
You should. I agree with that. You don't know what's going on or what's happening, but I think being a good listener, being proactive, I love the discipline side of it. You have to.
How do you learn discipline? To me, martial arts is the best way to learn discipline. Military would be another. Boy Scouts. I mean, I go all the way back now, but any kind of a structured organization where you learn to be, you have somebody teaching you, like a coach. Even sports, you learn discipline.
Mm-hmm. And you said something at the beginning about diffusing
Parents
anger.
Always get their kids.
I think it depends on the situation. I mean, someone being angry with you is different than someone coming at you wanting to fight.
But it's the same kind of a scenario. What it does, it gets your temperature up. It gets you're likely to make a mistake when you're not thinking clear-minded because you're upset and you're excited and your adrenaline's pumping, and learning how to control yourself in those anxiety situations, fearful situations is very important. You have to do this in advance, though. You have to train yourself to be that person. And now, how do you become that person? That's what I want to get to.
I think good communication. I think being a good problem solver is important. Because if a situation comes in front of you, you need to figure out how to solve it or fix it. Let's talk about it. What's got to happen now?
That's a good reason why martial arts is so important, because you learn to be a problem solver and you train every day. So you're in these crazy situations when you train, like particularly jiu-jitsu, because you train. It's basically hand-to-hand combat every night when you train. It's hands-on. It's not like you're in front of a mirror. Right. You're literally grappling with that opponent, or you're standing and you're being taken to the ground, and then you're grappling with that opponent, learning how to control that other person. And you're in a high, what's the right word? It's an intense.
High intensity.
Yeah, high intensity. And this is like every day. So you over the course of a few years, they say in the jiu-jitsu, if you train 2 years, it's like being a black belt in any other trade, in any other martial art. Well, jiu-jitsu, it takes like 10 years to get a black belt. And most other martial arts, 2 to 3 years. So just a couple of years training jiu-jitsu is powerful in terms of how you learn how to handle yourself in very difficult situations.
Another one
not just a fighting situation, but I mean any kind of a situation that's uncomfortable.
Right. Another way to be prepared to diffuse a situation is being emotionally knowledgeable, knowing
that.
human emotions, knowing why someone could be angry, why someone could be sad, why someone could be upset. And you have to know the difference between anger, fear, sadness, being able to know how the human brain works. Cause obviously we don't know everything, but at least knowing the basics of emotions can be a really big deal. Knowing psychology, just
Yeah, I'd
emotions
agree with
in
that.
general.
So the brain, the brain's a big deal, right? I mean, understanding, being educated, but exercise, and I get back to these same basic things every podcast, but if you exercise regularly, every day there's a new article that comes out about how exercise helps you. I mean, it helps your brain. And now they say that there's a correlation between people that exercise every day and dementia. It's like 10 times less likely to happen. And it just goes on and on and on and on. Go ahead.
It's funny. What just came to mind was we're kind of talking about here of how you would handle or diffuse or deal with the anger being presented
Yeah.
at you. You said something there that made me think of some guy with road rage hasn't slept all night. I mean,
Right.
if he had the person, you can actually not, the anger won't happen. The situation won't
Right.
even happen
Right.
if that person had rest and
Right.
exercise. So really,
But he's
you
on
could come
drugs.
at it.
He's upset about his wife cheating on
Right.
him.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
he's drinking too much. He's not
Okay.
sleeping. And then you're right. He causes this big problem.
Yeah. Because
But you got to be ready for that guy because he's going to be out there all the time.
Well, the road rage is happening. It happens every day.
Happened to me one night a couple months ago, pulling into my office complex. Guy pulls in next to me, mad as hell. So why did you blah 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 blah? I said, sir. And then we, and I was ready to get out of the car and go, go for it, whatever he wanted to do. But he calmed down real quick when he realized that I was confident, collected, and I wasn't going to, be intimidated. That's another example of how martial arts is very helpful because it keeps you in that mindset. It's hard to explain to somebody that doesn't do it, but any of the listeners out there that do martial arts, I know they'll agree with me. They'll understand that. I'm not saying everybody should become a black belt in jiu-jitsu or taekwondo or karate, but it is very helpful.
Hiya.
Hiya. You remember the high karate? You don't remember this. There used to be a commercial. I bet Brenda, the high karate cologne commercial.
Yeah.
This guy would maybe I've done this before, but the commercial's the best ever. This guy was put high karate cologne on, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, come all these women like chasing him down, wanting him so badly. He was like having to use karate to get him off of him. It was the best commercial ever. You remember that, Brent?
I do.
I don't remember that,
but
it sounds funny.
Great. Look it up
funny.
sometime.
I will.
High karate commercial.
High karate commercial. Okay.
It was one of the best ever produced.
Yeah.
Whoever produced that commercial deserves an award.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah, it was great.
High praises out here, huh?
It was something, man.
No,
It's funny how, like, Brent and I talk a lot about branding, and that's what we're doing today. Is we're branding Soar High Jiu-Jitsu. Soar High. I'm going to do a commercial here. Maybe I do it now. Soar High Jiu-Jitsu. Soar High Personal Development. Soar High Entertainment. But that's the brand that we came up with years ago. We just keep adding more and more concepts to go along with the brand. And how do we get the brand out there? Podcast, internet, all the different platforms, word of mouth, organic.
We've gone a little off topic, so go ahead and do
okay.
Go ahead and do your
I'm always getting off topic.
Do your ad, and then we'll have final thoughts.
Okay. We'll do the ad. Well, I guess we're kind of doing the ad anyway. That's the Soar High part of it. Our other business is same-day service. So we have America's same-day service. We do appliance, heating, cooling, electrical, handyman services across the United States. So wherever you're at and you're listening to this, you can go to the internet and look up America's same-day service. We can help you locally. If we don't have an outlet there, we're working towards getting an outlet there. We have an appliance store in our local office in Missouri where we sell used appliances. And we have, of course, our same-day service local business in Springfield, Missouri, where we do all the different trades. So that's basically the advertisement. And we appreciate our audience out there. It's growing all the time. We're about 6, 7, or 8 months into our podcast.
About 8 months now.
We've been doing video podcasts now for a couple of months, and we're going to continue to do that.
Maybe about a month and a half now on the
Yeah.
video podcast.
And we're going to get some new cameras pretty soon. You'll be able to see us in a different way soon.
Yep, and
That'll make it more interesting, hopefully.
we'll start
Or
doing
less interesting, maybe.
sometime in the very near future. We will be doing a YouTube subscription, the join channel
Okay.
button,
Okay.
and it will have Ron's rants as an
Oh, yeah.
exclusive episode every week. You'll get episodes a day early than everyone else. So joining the channel as a subscriber, more than a subscriber, is going to be a huge deal for our audience.
love it.
So
I love it. Well, you want to do some final thoughts?
yeah, we'll do some final thoughts.
Okay, what's your final thought?
Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Cannot get this out of my throat. Final thoughts are like the crazy part for me was when the officer, shot 8 times and then thought about something and then shot it again. That was crazy to me. I mean, I know that's not really a final thought, but it's something to that's tough to watch.
It is.
And that's sitting there shooting a dead horse. You shot the man 8 times in the back/side, and then you stop, and then you think about it, and then you shoot again. That's overkill in my opinion. I think that overall, back to de-escalating a situation and how
De-escalation is key.
yes, Ronnie's over there talking to all the minions, trying to get them set up on our videos, huh?
Yes. Well, I was talking to one of my service technicians. He's trying to call in a credit card right now.
I'm kidding.
But diffusing and staying calm and calm and collected, being a problem solver, guys, there's just nothing better than that. And if you train, I don't care if it's martial arts, if it's exercise, if it's being around people that are a mentor that encourages you to be more level-headed, staying sober. I'm not saying you can't have a drink once in a while or people want to smoke pot once in a while, but I mean, that's once in a while. That's not like constantly every day, all day, day and night, which a lot of my friends do that. And unfortunately, takes its toll, horribly takes its toll, particularly as they get older. A lot of the girls that I knew 30, 40 years ago that were super good looking, or it's just really sad to see their lives just disintegrate. I mean, their health it's just horrible, let alone their physical appearance. I'm not saying that exercise is the all be all to, anti-aging, but it definitely is a big part of that realm. It will help you dramatically improve your life. You'll just have more energy. You'll feel better. You'll look better. You'll be able to do more things. You're going to die eventually, sure, but you can at least make your quality of life so much better as you go forward with your life if you follow those rules. That's all I got to say. What do you got to say, Brent?
No, I just go back to a light recap of what you said on one area was that anytime you involve drugs, alcohol, lack of sleep, these are things that can cloud your judgment, and you can't make quality decisions.
Fair enough.
And I think those things can really, really throw things out of whack. And I think a lot of times in those situations, not this one probably, but the one you were talking about, that the daughter behind the club, there was
Horrible.
probably alcohol and drugs involved there.
There was.
So that clouds judgment.
That person should still be alive today. It was just a beautiful young woman and died in her 20s. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
And the father, has to live with that. And he's in his 70s now. He has to live with that now the rest of his life. And can you only imagine your child dying before you die? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys. Well, just remember, if you don't give up, the stars will always line up. So until next time, stay positive.